From StormBreaker smart bombs to Switchblade suicide drones and M142 155mm Howitzers, United States weapons continue to power the Ukrainian resistance against Russian aggression. Now, the M142 HIMARS are set to join the list and defend Ukraine's sovereignty right from the front lines. Join us in today's video as we explore the features of this deadly weapon that's causing panic across Russia. What is this new artillery like? Why is it valuable? How many will Ukraine get? And how will it be deployed? Keep watching to find out. The United States continues to stand strong with President Zelensky and the brave people of Ukraine in the face of the unprovoked aggression from Russia. Since the inception of the war in February, the U.S. has delivered military and humanitarian aid to Ukraine worth over $4 billion, and it remains committed to continue this stead for as long as required. The latest American relief package came on the 31st of May when President Joe Biden announced a $700 million aid package, including javelins, counter-artillery radar systems, command launch units, anti-armor weapons, helicopters, tactical vehicles, and most importantly, the M142 HIMARS. In an official statement, President Joe Biden said, "This new package will arm Ukrainian forces with new capabilities and advanced weaponry, including HIMARS with battlefield munitions to defend their country from Russian advances. We will continue to lead the world in providing historic assistance to support Ukraine's fight for freedom." What is the M142 HIMARS like? The M142 HIMARS, or High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, is an advanced combat-proven rocket launcher with exceptional agility and maneuverability on the battlefield. It was designed as an optimized version of the M270 MLRS, which has been in service with the US and NATO forces since the 1980s. Every unit of the M142 HIMARS is equipped with 6 GPS-guided rockets. This impressive artillery measures 7 meters in length, 2.4 meters in width, and 3 meters in height. Considering it only requires a crew of 3 men to operate, this would go down as one of the easiest artillery to mount. The M142 HIMARS has a range of 50 miles or 80 kilometers, twice the range of the M777 Howitzers supplied to the Ukrainian forces in May. While Ukraine has held on real good in this fight, Russia seems to be gaining ground in the last few weeks, capturing and controlling significant parts of Donetsk and Luhansk. In fact, Russia's 90-kilometer-long central front line continues to advance with hopes of capturing the entire Donbas region. To stop this fast-moving advancement, Ukraine needs a quick-fire response that can peg the Russian military in their current position, or, better still, push them out of Ukrainian territory completely. Enter the M142 HIMARS. Some military analysts believe that introducing this artillery will give Ukraine a huge boost. Others argue that the impact might not be as lethal as expected. Undersecretary for the U.S. Defense Dr. Colin H. Kahl told reporters during a media session, "These are precision-guided systems with extended range, and so for high-value targets that allow them to keep some of the pressure off of Ukrainian forces on the front, we think these systems will be very useful." Call for caution. The United States Department of Defense is committed to providing Ukraine with weapons, but it continues to call for caution regarding how and where these weapons will be deployed. High-ranking U.S. military officials fear that any attempts to strike deep into Russia with this artillery could ignite more fury from the Russian forces and eventually lead to chaos that cannot be controlled. According to trusted sources, the main motive behind the military aid provided by the United States is to help the Ukrainian forces defend their positions and also to have better bargaining power at the negotiation table, just as President Biden mentioned in his announcement. In another statement, Joe Biden emphasized that the United States will not send weapons capable of striking deep into Russia to Ukraine. It is important to note that for a long time, the United States has been reluctant to provide heavy artillery to Ukraine because it doesn't want to be seen as one of the facilitators of the war. But with Russia's sustained aggression, it would be unfair to deprive Ukrainian forces of the necessary weapons to defend their country. But so far, the United States government and the Department of Defense have done well in finding the right balance. Weapons are getting approved at a faster rate, and in the same vein, Pentagon officials continue to monitor and advise the Ukrainian forces on how they should be used. But, of course, that's not convincing enough for the Russians, who believe that the United States has an ulterior motive for supplying more sophisticated weapons to Ukraine. Following the announcement of this latest aid, Russian officials have accused Washington of adding fuel to the fire, adding that such supplies do not contribute to the Ukrainian leadership's willingness to resume peace negotiations. How many M142 HIMARS will Ukraine get? As mentioned earlier, this military aid package is loaded with several other weapons, including 1,000 javelins, 50 command launch units, 15,000 155mm howitzers, 4 Mi-17 helicopters, and hundreds of spare parts. All of these took up a large portion of the $700 million budget, and there was only room for 4 HIMARS systems. Of course, this wouldn't be enough to see off a strong opposition like Russia, but the United States says it will continue to closely consult with Ukraine and surge additional available systems and capabilities in support of its defense. Also, Congress has been extremely generous towards Ukraine and its fight against Russian aggression. Just recently, $40 billion was approved by Congress for Ukraine, with the official defense source claiming that $8 billion of that fund is for additional presidential drawdown authority. With that said, the Ukrainian forces can expect more HIMARS units in the coming weeks. How will it be deployed? The deployment of any weapon is key to its success on the battlefield, and the HIMARS wouldn't be any different. We already know it will arrive in Ukraine in record time because the Department of Defense has moved some HIMARS units to Europe in anticipation that the US government might approve them for the Ukrainian forces, and it turned out that they were right anyway. Training is another important aspect that shouldn't be treated with levity, and we understand that the necessary arrangement has been put in place already. We think it will take around 3 weeks, Colin H. Call, the Undersecretary of Defense for Policy, said. They need to know not just how to use the systems, but of course, how to maintain the system. So think of logistics, maintenance, things like that. It will be a number of weeks until that training is complete. With this in mind, we speculate that the 4 HIMARS units should be at the front lines in about 3 to 4 weeks. But then again, the situation of the war is quite delicate and requires that high-tech weapons such as the M142 HIMARS systems be moved in position very quickly, so we wouldn't be surprised if they're deployed earlier than we expect. We bet the Ukrainian soldiers on the front line of this war will be eager to see the HIMARS units deployed as quickly as possible. They'd also be hoping it's just as effective as the other American-made weapons they've recently received. Nonetheless, questions will continue to be asked about the timing of the approval of this incredibly advanced artillery. Could it have been approved earlier? Will it be effective in repelling the Russian forces? Let us know what you think in the comment section down below. Be sure to check out this video over here.